Oh, I'm live now.
Yes, we are live. Well, sorry to anybody who is trying to listen live. I think we changed links on you because of our technical struggles. But we are live now. So welcome to our live chat with our partners at Hope and Homes for Children in Romania. We have Oana and Mihaela here with us, and I'm Brianna. So we will introduce ourselves, and then we will go through some questions to help you understand better Hope and Homes Romania, the work that we've done with them in the past, and what we're hoping to continue accomplishing together in the future. So I will start by introducing myself, and then I'll pass it over to Oana and Mihaela. So my name's Brianna. I'm the project coordinator at Venture to Impact. And I was on the ground in Romania in 2017 and 2018. So as the project coordinator, I get to work with our lovely partners and now good friends and plan projects for you, our volunteers, to use your skills to create impact. So Oana and Mihaela, will you tell us what you do at HHC, how you got involved, how long you've been there?
Sure. Hi, Brianna, and thank you. Hello, everybody, whoever's listening, if anybody. My name is Ioana, and I have been working for Hope and Homes for about 14 years. And before that, I was a volunteer for Hope and Homes for almost 3 years, while I was still in university, that is. And at the moment for Hope and Homes, I work as a programs officer, which means that I write various reports for our donors, mainly foreign donors, but also some Romanian ones. I do translations. I work with volunteer groups such as Venture to Impact. And also I have a couple of small projects that I've initiated for the children and young adults in our services. And this is my colleague Mihaela, and she will introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Mihaela. I've been working for HHC since 2003. Currently, I'm a safeguarding and participation focal person. That means that I am involved in problems regarding safeguarding issues, and also children's participation, meaning that we are very interested to hear the voice of the children as well. I'm also a programs officer. I mainly do what Ioana does, but I'm reporting for Romanian donors. I also do translations and many other things. We both will be involved on a EU project.
On two EU projects.
On two EU projects, actually, it's true. Beginning with November. That's about it, but we do many other things here at HHC, and I'm also involved on this project with Venture to Impact.
Yeah, basically we do a lot of data collection from our programs, and we use that data to come up with reports and other updates for donors and for other supporters.
Great. And we have been our main contacts, and when we've been in Romania, they've been there every day with us, super engaged. So we're super thankful for them. So we'll just get started with some questions. So from Hope and Homes' perspective, how would you say the partnership with B2I has been beneficial to Hope and Homes and your guys' beneficiaries?
I think, well, it's kind of a new thing to us because we've only been working with you guys for the past couple of years. But it's been added value to our programs because we work a lot with children and young adults coming from disadvantaged environments, meaning from poor families or from state care. And the fact that we entered into this partnership with you kind of brought us a lot closer to these young people and the children, because in the past few years, our work as an organization has expanded a lot in Romania, and we have been working also a lot with our partners from counties. Romania is divided into counties. And this has left us with quite little time to do our direct work with children and young adults. And the fact that we started working with you, this brought us closer together again to the young adults and to the children that we work for. Another important aspect about our partnership was that you guys brought in some expertise and some knowledge about fields that are very useful to our children and young adults, such as English and the computer skills. So this is because we're living this world of computers and of English. I mean, English is used a lot in many areas. Our children and young people benefited a lot from your training and your knowledge that you brought with you here. So this is also a very good thing for them.
We've noticed improvements even since last year. And now I'm speaking about the young adults. They are more brave and they have initiative regarding speaking English or computers or organizing activities. And we were very satisfied about this. So it is true what Jana said. In the past, we had more time to interact and have direct contact and activities with the children. But nowadays, we have less and less time to do these actual very important activities for the children. And this partnership has been very, very beneficial and very important for us.
And another thing that the partnership brought with it was the sort of creation of a new network of Romanian volunteers that are extremely eager to be involved in the lives of their community. We didn't realize that they were so open to all of these opportunities. We used to have our own volunteer program years ago, but because of our expansion and because of the type of work we are doing, we no longer had the time or the resources to deal with managing such a group of volunteers. But because you guys came and we needed people to help us with the logistics and everything else, we realized we need another group of volunteers. And it's been like an eye-opener to us to see that actually young people from high school or from university are quite eager to do this kind of work and are very much into helping out the other children and young adults in the community.
Each year, more and more. This year, they were really interested to be involved and more brave to translate and be involved in the activities.
Yeah, we could see an improvement even in them. We no longer had to, coach them or ask them to do certain things because, last year they didn't know exactly what they were supposed to be doing. But this year we didn't have to tell them anything. They just had their own initiative, and that was great.
Yeah, that's definitely an unexpected but really good impact that we saw and we're really happy with. Great, thanks guys. Will you just tell us more about Hope and Homes Romania, how it began, what it is that you guys focus your time on, the why, what's your mission?
Well, HHC Romania began, and it's funny that you asked this year because it began 20 years ago. So this year is our 20th anniversary. It began 20 years ago with a great need to change the lives of children in orphanages for the better, because there used to be quite a lot of orphanages in Romania with about 100,000 children who living in very bad conditions. And this very generous couple from the UK started our organization called Hope and Homes for Children. And they initially, what they thought was to recreate an orphanage that was bombed in Serbia, in Sarajevo. But then they realized that this is not what those children wanted. Those children said they wanted the family, and they realized that it is much better to provide these children with a family instead of another orphanage. So when they saw the conditions that were here in those orphanages, they decided that they need to do everything they can to close them down and provide these kids with family alternatives. And this is basically how HHC Romania appeared, from this need to give those children a better life, a better childhood, and a better future, basically. Um, it's very important for us to see that in the near future, and by near I mean 5 or 6 or 7 years, to see that that all orphanages in Romania will be closed down, and then those kids will be provided with much better places and a family environment that they could live in. We have been doing this for the past 20 years, and now there's like around 7,000 children in these orphanages. And children, many of them are not actually orphans. Many of them have person they relate to, but the idea is that those people have several reasons why they cannot take care of the children, and we are trying to help them either take the children back with some help if they're willing to do it, and if the children want to do it, or provide them with alternative services such as, I don't know, maybe placement into foster care or placement in a small group home, which is like a regular house where no more than 12 children live together with members of staff caring for them 24/7. And they feel like in a family. They're allowed to do everything that children do in families. So this is what we're trying to do. And this is the main thing that we're trying to accomplish here in Romania. Apart from children from being separated from their families, apart from providing training to state authorities on how to deal with these services, how to manage them, how to develop them, apart from supporting young adults to become independent, those who have lived in institutions in most part of their lives, or who have come from the child protection system and they don't have enough independent living skills to cope on their own, but they have to cope on their own at some point. So basically, we are trying to work on so many levels in order to accomplish what is called the reform of the child protection system in Romania. Mihaela, if you want to add something?
I think you've said everything possible. So the conclusion is why we are doing it, because we want to provide the children a better life. So
yeah,
children who are not who are in the state care.
Yeah,
Work is
really important work for sure. Yeah, so will you just share with us a little bit of the background of some of the young adults or kids who we've been working with the past couple of years, their challenges and kind of like what their early years looked like? We just got a broad picture. Will you just get a little more specific with, I don't know, think of like one of the kids we've been working with and tell us more so we can understand a little better?
Like some of the children are currently in small families, and they got there. Some of them were transferred from institutions, and other from the emergency reception center. And I think all of them have families, but they are not. Many of them are either have very poor families and they cannot go back to their birth families or extended families, but they still visit their families constantly. And the young adults also they left the childcare system, but they were at the beginning they were institutionalized and in a small family home. And now they left the childcare system and they are living in these so-called transit centers, because these places provide them with a place to live, a home, and they have jobs. And in the future, we hope to be able to help them save enough money so they can buy or have a place of their own, so to become independent. And the children from the child protection system, they are from small family homes.
Right.
The programs, you also had a couple of children from our prevention program, which means families at risk of abandoning their children that have received help from us in order to prevent this thing from happening. And the support can come in so many various forms depending on their most pressing needs. And like Mihaela said, most of the beneficiary of the program came from small group homes or from the transit center that we have developed here in Baia Mare. The transit center was developed about 2 years ago in partnership with one of our donors, and we need so many more places like this because this is basically like a bigger building that has about 19 studio apartments, and then there the young adults who leave the child protection system can stay for a year or up to two if they behave well, and if they manage to hold on to a job. And here they have all the conditions that you and I might have at home, but they have to pay a small rent and they have to pay a bit of money for utilities. But this is much less than what they would pay if they had like a regular rented apartment in town. The idea for them is to get own, is to get used to managing their resources properly, and also to set some money aside because at the end of their period there, they'll have to go and actually live on their own in town or whatever they want to with a friend or by themselves. So this is kind of prepares them a bit more for independent life.
Yeah, one of the things I've always loved about the transit center is I always felt that when people leave at 18 from government services or whatnot, that they no longer have any support system. You and I, we still have our parents who we can call upon, or
Yeah.
and
what I want.
when they're out, they age out, they have nothing. So yeah,
that's what I want to add, because the teenagers, when they become 18 and they leave the childcare system, they are very vulnerable because some of them, they can families, or they don't want to go back to their families and they end up in the streets. If they don't have such centers or such places live for a certain period of time, they are at
a lot of things like drug abuse,
yes.
human trafficking, while in state care, especially if they've been through institutions when they were little, or three call institutions, lacking in so many areas, including affection, proper emotional support, not to mention lack of independent living skills, because if you don't learn how to manage on your own, your food is cooked for you, your clothes are washed for you, you get a certain amount of clothes a month or a year, and many times they're not different than your colleagues' clothes, and you don't get to have a say in all these things. But if you live in a small group home, you have more access to individual items and to individual experiences, like, I don't know, being allowed in the kitchen to cook a meal under supervision. You can decide if you want to buy a pair of jeans or not, because the staff will go with you when you're little to get you whatever you want with the amount of money that you have available. Then especially since the homes are in town, you can have a relationship with neighbors. You can go and see where things are bought. You can go to the shopping mall or to the supermarket, which you usually cannot do if you're in an institution or in an orphanage. Those usually are located on the outskirts of towns. You don't get to go, of course, you don't get to go by yourself anywhere, but you don't have the ability to buy anything for yourself because everything is paid for and bought by the state, and the state has an auction and they buy in bulk and they buy everything everybody needs. I don't know, 100 pair of jeans, the same color for everybody, or the same type of jacket, or the same type of tracksuit, or doesn't matter. So you don't get to have your own personal items properly like you would have in a small group home. And these are some of the things that maybe we take for granted when we are at home, because we don't realize how important they are in life as an adult afterwards, and how to manage everything that you have, and how to think about what you're going to buy to eat, so that you have enough money left maybe to buy, I don't know, maybe you want to buy a pair of shoes, or maybe you have to pay your rent. So all these things, if not learned on time, then it kind of makes it life really difficult for you afterwards.
Mhm.
So this is what placement in a family-like environment does to you. Um, you learn how to deal with all these everyday things that you normally don't when you are in a big institution or in a big orphanage, because nobody bothers to teach you.
Right. Yeah. So that is related to why we also, in addition to English and computers in past years, focused on some soft skills and budgeting and helping to
Yeah.
develop some of the young adults' confidence or their ability to connect with their emotions and have more emotional intelligence. Yeah, because we, with your help, were able to realize that that was something that was really important to the young adult and was lacking due to growing up in the institutions where they just didn't receive a lot of attention or physical affection or somebody watching out for them. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they relate a lot to people like your volunteers, young people or older people who come to them, and in certain contexts, they reveal some things that happened to themselves and how they interacted and how they decided to act in those moments. So they really respond to these personal experiences when somebody closer to their age or even older shares something real that happened to them and how they chose to deal with it and how to go to do things. These also makes a lasting impression on them, and we are hoping that even this kind of learning is important to them, because usually they don't have this relationship with adults, where adults or youngsters closer to their age but with different experiences share their experience with them. And I think that the fact that you guys did this, I think is very important to their development in the future, even if not everything sticks with them, but at least part of it will stick with them, and this will help them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even realize that. And
Right.
they learn without realizing. And about English lessons, they learn English at school, but here with you, they constantly speak, and they have to speak English and have to interact in English. So that's really, really important. It's a huge difference between learning English at school with Romanian teachers and learning English with English speakers
Yep.
or American speakers. It's a huge difference. So
Yeah.
that's a great benefit for
Yeah,
the
'cause we can relate to that. Like, I took years of high school French, but I wouldn't say I'm fluent or feel
yeah.
super comfortable speaking. But yeah, with native speakers and yeah, we tried to make all of our activities as fun and interactive, game based as possible. It was just a lot of fun to and to see some of the young adults from last year to this year, just how they had grown in confidence and were more willing to speak and to share, and it's really encouraging.
Yep.
Mhm.
You're right.
Were there, I think we already touched on them, but just in case, were there any other benefits that you've seen in the young adults specifically over the past 2 years?
Well, I know that some of them managed to find a better job.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know about Nicoletta finding a job at this elderly home
Oh, okay,
now.
great.
Actually working in her field, like
a
she's a
nurse.
nurse, and she's
Right.
actually doing the job of a nurse, not like she did before,
She's very
odd jobs
happy
here
about
and there.
that.
Yeah, and she's very happy about it.
That's
So,
fantastic.
so yeah, in a way, we don't realize it when these kind of experiences take place in their life, but it kind of opens them up a little bit to the world more, because their emotional intelligence is different than ours. They didn't have the amount of affection that they should have had from the beginning, and in their initial moments of life and in their most important moments. And these kind of bonds that they created with your volunteers or with our volunteers, and the friendships that they made in a way opened them up a little bit more to the world and encourage them to try new experiences. And we are very grateful for it, because no amount of lecturing can get you to try new experiences than the encouragement from a friend.
Yeah, that's
Just
really
like
cool.
all the activities that you've done regarding how to,
Present themselves.
present themselves when they go to when they apply for a job. I think that was really helpful for them.
Yeah.
So now they know what they have to do, how they have to speak, how they have to behave, or what they have to wear when they go to apply for a job. So that's also very important.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we've practiced interviewing skills the past 2 years. So yeah, I think we definitely have some volunteers who will be super excited to hear that that really did help. Oh, super exciting. Well, that's great. Thank you, friends, for sharing that. I was aware of some of the benefits, but I just got even more excited hearing more. So that's great. So yeah, that's a little bit about what we have done together in the past. And so things will be changing a little bit in the coming years because Hope and Homes has received some funding from the EU. So will you just tell us a little bit about this grant that you've received and what you guys are trying to accomplish with this grant, and yeah, just some of the activities that you'll be participating in?
Well, the EU funding is both a blessing and we are an NGO, so all the funds that we can attract are most welcome. But the EU funding is a blessing and a curse, because the amount of paperwork needed and the attention to detail that we have to pay in this project is
Huge.
it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And we end up, I don't know, dealing with papers more than we ever dreamed about doing. And that's not very pleasant. So that's our curse, basically. Another thing is that these are big EU projects, and by big, I mean they're going to last for 3 years.
Okay.
And they involve a lot of people. It's not just us; it's the local authorities who are involved. We have some schools involved, some kindergartens involved, and that means a lot of people that need to be coordinated and do activities in a timely fashion and properly and as written in that project. So
Can I interrupt? Oh, I'm going to. Okay, so I know what the project is about, but give us a big picture. What is the goal of this project?
Related to education?
Yes. It's about trying to make education more appealing to disadvantaged communities. That's the like the red thread of the whole thing.
Okay.
And around it, we have several activities that involve the children, involve kindergarten kids, involve their parents, their teachers. So, but the main idea is that to make school an environment they would like to be in, they would like to go to, they would like to be involved in. This is the main idea of both of the projects. And we're going to have activities all through the year with all these kids and teenagers, basically, because it goes up to the age of 16.
After school activities.
Yes, after school activities, during classroom activities, and activities during the summer. And now my colleagues, well, for the first 3 months, the project started at the end of May, beginning of June, and for the first 3 months or 4 months, my colleagues were busy devising procedures and all these kind of paperwork that they needed for all the activities. And now they just started recruiting the children that will be part of the program. So recruitment started at some point last month.
Right.
And they're
And
going to
sorry, how many young people ideally will be involved in this project across the 3 years?
You mean the beneficiaries?
Yes.
They are children aged 6 or school-age children 6 to 16, 580, I think.
All
And
in
they all
by
have-
Mari?
Yes, they all have to be recruited at the beginning of the project, which means this month and the following months.
Right.
Until February, I think the recruiting process will go until February. And all these kids will have to attend the camps that will be prepared for them in the summer. And by camp, I mean activity that will happen during the day in a specific location in Baia Mare, usually at their school. And by activities, we mean something like, maybe painting workshops or English lessons, but fun English lessons, of course. All sorts of games and music lessons, all these kind of things that make learning a bit more interesting for the kids.
Because it's
Right.
about camps in the summer. So
Yeah.
a camp should be recreational and fun and attractive for the children. So it shouldn't be like school homework or something. It should be fun.
And we are going to have also, well, among these 500 and some children, we will have probably children with learning disabilities or with some physical disabilities as well.
So reaching out to all different kinds of disadvantaged youth.
Yeah.
I think that because Venture to Impact will be helping with the camps, that's definitely something I've been thinking about and trying to think about Romania 2019 and what we'll be doing. The school remains like attractive to different people for different reasons. So for some people, it's because they're involved in drama or art or plays and choir or sports. And so really like whatever it takes to keep kids in school, like that's what we want. So yeah, we're excited to bring English and computers back again, but also some other fun activities. Like we did paint once this last year, which is good. Or we have many volunteers with lots of different talents. So I think that'll be really fun to share them with the youth.
Sure. We'll be happy to.
Iwana, will you be teaching some karate lessons?
Well, if I'm needed for that, yes. But as far as I know, there's also some specialists there in the project who are dealing with sports activities. So probably sports teachers. But if they need my help, I'm happy to. I can teach anybody.
I mean, karate teaches discipline, and
yes.
I think it could be good.
Yeah, the only thing you need to keep in mind this summer is that we will be relying a lot on Romanian volunteers because Mihaela and I will be involved in activities with the kids as much as all the other people in the project. So we might not have that much time on supervising what you guys are doing. So you'd better be doing a good job.
Do we ever do less than a good job?
No, but we're just trying to make sure.
Don't worry.
Our supervision.
Well, it depends, all those naughty boys that they've been bringing over. We don't know what they're up to.
It's not true, guys. We bring great volunteers.
Of course you do.
Okay, good. I know you might not have the answer to this question because you're just in the early stages, but what will success look like? What is the EU and HHC hoping to see at the end? Like, how are you measuring your success?
I think there are several indicators. I'm not familiar with all of them because I haven't really studied properly this project until November when I'm supposed to be part of it. But I think the idea is to keep as many kids enrolled in a form of education, as many as possible, to keep them enrolled for a long period of time, and also to get their parents through the parenting classes that they were supposed to be going through, and trying to get them to understand the importance of an education for their children. And especially since their children come from disadvantaged environment, education can be life-changing to them. And this is, I think, that we are trying to achieve, is get as many of them back to school or into school, or to make sure that they continue their education for a long period of time. This is basically the idea, to get them into school and stay there.
Right. Is there data around like the dropout rate? Do you know?
There should be some sort of information somewhere, but I'm not aware of it at the moment. It's quite big, especially in rural areas, or areas that have, what they call poverty pockets. So they're like communities on the outskirts of big towns where they don't have paperwork, maybe they don't care to enroll their kids in a form of education. They send kids to work, or they send kids to I don't know, God knows where, to find out scrap metal or stuff they can sell. And those kids don't go to school, and those kids don't get an education. And this is what we're trying to achieve: get those kids back to school, back to kindergarten, get them in a form of education, make sure that they there's so many things you learn at school, not just math and Romanian and these kind of things. You learn how to interact with your peers, how to speak to an adult. This is what you learn how to respond properly, how to think in certain ways. And this is what we're trying to get the kids to do, because this is how you basically develop.
And I think it is important, and we hope that we will have also an impact upon parents, because everything comes from the parents. You have to educate the parents, and then the parents educate the children. Hope we will raise awareness among the parents about the importance of school, and have an impact on this part as well.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so important. Yeah, because if you just reach out to the kids, if the parents are the ones sending them to work before they finish school or whatnot, then it won't matter.
Yes.
Great. Well, that sounds like very good and important work to be doing, in addition to your usual work, which I know you guys are feeling maybe a little overwhelmed by all of the weight, but
we are a team and we work very well together, and hopefully we will get things done, all of them,
on time.
on time.
Yes. I mean, you two are my favorite team, so I think you guys will
Oh, thanks.
Well,
one of our favorites as well.
Yeah, the others.
Well, Oana Mihaila, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us today. I found it really helpful, so I think that many of our volunteers or prospective volunteers will find it very interesting as well. So, is there anything else before we end this broadcast?
Well, thank you so much for giving the opportunity to say all these things about what we are doing, what we've been doing, and what we're trying to achieve. I hope that your volunteers will be as eager as you guys are to come and help. I hope they'll be flexible, because it's very important to know we have a very flexible life around here, so they shouldn't expect, like, I don't know, deadlines or all those fixed hours for everything. But hopefully that we can improve the lives of these kids that we are trying to get into contact with, and try to get them on the right path in life.
And from the experiences of other volunteers and their feedback, we had great feedback. So hopefully they will have as much fun and a great time as the previous volunteers.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Maybe we can arrange another street food festival.
Oh, yes. Is it coming back this year?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Hopefully. The street food festival was really fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. I'm going to stop the broadcast.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that'll immediately close the tab or what. We're figuring this out together. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.